What could be better than that? But you know, we have not gathered here today merely to celebrate the creation of a new home, although we will. We have not come here to wish Scott and Abby happily ever after, as it says over here on the gazebo, because that's not realistic. No, we've come here to share in something much more sacred and profound. We're here to unite two lives in a sacred covenant of marriage. Now, Scott and Abby, you've chosen to unite your lives in marriage at a time when marriage and family and faith are facing some of the greatest threats since that first wedding in the Garden of Eden. Creating a Christian home today is not for the faint of heart, you two. But it's also one of the most rewarding and enjoyable endeavors two people can undertake if you will each choose to make the success of this relationship your primary mission in life, secondary only to your relationship with God. Now, that's a fairly serious opening, and Abby, you said to make it fun. We'll get there. But for those of you who know these two, you also know that they have a lighthearted side to them. There's some parts of their story that just have to be shared. We'll let them share some of the stories, but let it be said that we've spent a fair bit of time together over the last 6-8 months, and I've got stories. Some of them we just won't be telling here today, but they're good ones. But there's a few things that they have shared, and I'm gonna share some of that with you. So I asked them how they met, and a really amazing story came out about how these two met. This is kind of the modern age of how weddings begin. It all started because Abby couldn't bear the thought of spending money to find love. And so she signed up for a free dating app. Tell me if I'm getting this right. Am I doing it so far? All right. A free dating app. And it wasn't long before Abby discovered that she had gotten what she paid for. It was terrible. And so she unsubscribed from this free dating app. But you've heard rumors that when you unsubscribe from online services, your data does not necessarily go away. Have you heard those rumors? It's true, and that's why we're here today. Because after Abby had unsubscribed from this dating service, Scott went looking, and there was her profile. And something about that smile, something made him say, I think it's worth taking another look. So that's how he found her, a phantom profile lingering in some distant database. That's how it all began. So after he discovered her, they started online communication, and then they began talking by phone. And after a while, you guys started talking about actually talking face-to-face. It's kind of how relationships go these days. We start online, and then we get together. So they got talking about talking face-to-face. And Scott was very cautious. Actually, it was humorous how many times he said this in the times we were together as he was talking about this story, that he did not want to go to her home on the first time they met because he didn't want to seem like some psycho stalker. My words, not his. So, anyway, so he was very careful about that. They met, they liked what they saw, and they decided they should continue. And that's where Scott started investing all his income in gasoline and insurance and new tires as he drove from Montana to Spokane over and over and over again. So that's how it all began. Now, one of the things that Scott says he noticed about you, Abby, right away, was that she asked, and this is quote, normal questions. And then he said it again, questions that mattered. Apparently that was unusual online. Is that? So that made you stand out from the crowd. Way to go. Talk about the stuff that matters. And by the way, as we've spent time together, you guys are still talking about the stuff that matters. One of the things that impressed me with you too. So after meeting for the first time, Scott starts burning up the tires. They talked and talked and talked and talked. That's how I heard it. And they just kept falling deeper and deeper in love. And then I remember the night Abby came to me. I think it was at a Journey to the Cross rehearsal or something. And she said, I think we're going to get married. And that was the conversation for this part began a little over a year ago. Yep. So Abby, you said some of your favorite things about Scott are that he is amazingly caring, that he never lets you put yourself down in his presence. Good job. Abby says he loves me even though I can be a little nerdy at times. I'm just reading it like she wrote it. She says, I feel completely safe with him. Do you feel safe right now? This is kind of unnerving up here. Yeah, good. All right. She absolutely loves his family. Yay. That's a good sign.
We love you too.
Yay.
I love you too.
He encourages me to be a better person, Abby says, and most importantly, he's grown closer to God. And that's been a fun part of our time together, is just sharing some of Scott's faith journey as he's been exploring and studying. And one of the things I appreciate, Scott, is you're just the real deal. You're just open about where you're at, and I really appreciate that. Now, Scott, you had a list of your own about Abby. You said that you love how she smiles at you for no reason. I think there is a reason, actually, but that's what you said. Scott, you said you love how she calls me pooper face in the most loving way. I almost left that out, but you did put it in there. I am leaving the other one out, just for the record. Scott says she's the most honest person I know. It's pretty high praise. She listens and truly cares about what I have to say. And Scott wrote, she makes me want to be a better person, to be the man she deserves. Good stuff, you two. And Scott, you added that what attracted you to Abby initially was her cute and wacky smile. I'll not ask you to elaborate on that right now, but I am a little curious. So these traits, combined with thousands of hours on the phone and miles driven, combined with shared experiences, eventually led you two to say, you know, we like the path we're on. And we'd like to keep walking this way for life, side by side. And that's why we're here. So, by the way, Abby, you asked a pastor to do your wedding service, so now you're going to get a wedding sermon. So you may be wishing you'd asked the other guy, but here we are. I just want you two to know, and I think you already know this from what we've shared together, that God is passionately interested in what is happening here right now. He is totally tuned in because he cares so much about marriage and your marriage in particular. The Bible, from the beginning to end, builds on the theme of marriage, starting in Genesis, where God performs the first wedding, and clear down to the book of Revelation, where it speaks of the church making herself ready for her marriage to the Lamb. In Genesis, God pointed out that man living alone is not good. Scott, would you affirm that that is the case? I think that's why we're here. It's not good. Adam, fresh from the Creator's hand in all of his perfection, lacking nothing that we would notice, but yet he was lacking something. And what was missing could only be filled by relationship. So God took a rib from his side to help fill a hole in his heart. And when Adam first saw Eve, he couldn't contain his joy. She was beautiful and intelligent and his perfect match. It was kind of like when you saw Abby come out off those steps just a moment ago. And he couldn't contain himself. He exclaimed in the Hebrew, "Whoa, man!" That was the official translation. God designed her to complement him and stand beside him. And in reality, the Hebrew word that we have translated helper actually has nuance from battle. And it's the nuance of she is supporting the troops as they go into battle. That's the nuance of that word. She was designed to help Adam grow, to assist him in becoming more like his Creator, Scott. And together, they were a perfect reflection of God himself. So you two are commissioned in your marriage, commissioned by God, to complete the image of God in your home. It's a pretty high calling. And we're gathering here today to initiate that journey. So when tensions arise, you'll have choices to make. Each of you. Abby, if Scott's relaxed, easygoing nature starts to drive you crazy, then you can either criticize this quality as a weakness, or you can remind yourself how this trait blesses you when you're tempted to stress out over the details. Right? And Scott, when the perfection wears off of this beautiful woman before you right now, you are either going to choose to critique her or to encourage her. You will have choices, and you'll make them over and over throughout the course of your marriage. God intends that we partner to complete His image and serve the world. But ever since the fall of humanity, there in the garden, we've been deflecting blame and pointing out flaws. But it doesn't have to go that way. You can choose another path. God has a better way for you and your home, and the choice really is yours every day of your marriage, starting today. Now, many couples ignore the fact that the best marriages have a third party at the center. And while that may sound strange, I can assure you from personal experience that I don't have what it takes, Scott, to love my wife as I ought. I don't have it in me. Only as God is in our home and transforming my heart and mind am I able to be to her what she needs on a daily, consistent basis. And I want to strongly challenge both of you today to seek ways that you can put God intentionally at the center of your home, starting tonight and moving forward every day of your married lives. Make Him much more than a weekend experience. Are you following me? Much more than that. Make Him the one you consult in the middle of difficult conversations. Because the same God who created each of you created marriage, and He knows how to make it work. And so if you'll listen to Him, He'll direct you and teach you how to win and love well your bride's heart and your groom's heart as you go through life together. Now, I'm happy to announce that there is a formula for your marriage to make it a delightful marriage for life. And I'm going to share that formula. I actually already have shared this formula with you. I'm just going to remind you of it. We've talked about it in our meetings. The formula was written down by a female American author nearly 100 years ago, and she wrote this: 2 people growing closer to Christ can never be very far apart. Remember the triangle we drew on the blackboard in my office? So here's the drill. As long as you keep that primary relationship central in each of your lives and you're growing closer to Christ, you grow closer to each other as part of the deal. And Scott, I just want to say it's been a joy to share your spiritual journey with you as we've talked and gone down this path together. But today, you assume the mantle of priest of your household. That's a big deal. And I want to challenge you, especially as the man taking the leadership in your home, I want to challenge you, my friend, to commit yourself to an ongoing pursuit of God. Continue what you have begun. Continue to pursue Him and lead Abby and take her with you as you pursue deeper and deeper relationship with God, strengthening your commitment. Now, Abby and Scott, I'm not going to give you a lot of promises today. You're going to make those in a minute. But I will make you this one ironclad guarantee. If you will consistently put even half the effort into your marriage that you've put into your wedding, you will have an awesome, awesome marriage. Now, I'm not talking about big elaborate things. I'm talking about little attentions often. Great marriages are not made up of big things. They're made up of the multitude of little things. And if you will continue to keep that a priority, great things will happen. Passion is maintained by regular time spent with each other. You're really good at that right now. Stay good at it. The same things that have fueled romance in your courtship will keep it alive in marriage. And as you continue to make a lifelong investment in your relationship, a sweet aroma will flow out of your home and bless all of those who've come in contact with you. That aroma is what we read about in 1 Corinthians 13. Love is patient, kind, all those characteristics of love. Continue to invest and show those to one another. Now, in a moment, you two are going to make the most solemn vows that 2 human beings can make to each other. God is here, along with your family and friends, to witness these vows. And I want you to think carefully about what you are promising. I want you to know that God, myself, and these witnesses here, we take these vows very seriously. All of us are committed to help you maintain and keep the promises you're about to make. And that is part of my promise to you for your lifetime, to help you keep that. Now, God today also is entering into covenant with you. He is putting Himself on the line, putting Himself on the hook, and He is covenanting not just you, but He's making His promise. He promises to walk with you, to speak to your hearts and to encourage you in this journey as you listen for his voice. Seek his heart.